Matt Slater covers all sports, but he dabbles in the NFL for the BBC. Matt, are you on the line?
I am. How are you?
Matt, let me ask you this. I read your article about the financial impact year to year at games at Wembley, and it's millions of dollars in tourism and the NFL coming over. But what would the financial impact be of a full-time NFL team in London?
Well, it's a good question, but before I explain that one, I mean, one of the big stories here in the UK at the moment is, and certainly one that we're following closely at the BBC, is Dan's health.
Wow.
And I think I speak for everyone in the country just to say, get well soon, Dan. We are concerned.
Has the royal family weighed in on this story yet?
I mean, it's a matter of time. There's a sort of certain protocol in dealing with the royal family, so they tend to take their time. But I think any minute now we should get some sort of message from the palace.
Wow. Let's keep us up to date on that, because our I-team would love a correspondent over there. What would the financial impact be long-term of an NFL team in London? Before we get to the possibility of it, what would it mean for London and the fans in that city?
Well, look, it's one of those really thorny questions in terms of big sporting events or big kind of mega events, be they sort of politics or music. It's often really, really hard to work out what economic impact is, because it's really hard to differentiate spending, really. Would that money have been spent anyway? Would that person have gone to a soccer game? Would they have gone to a rugby game? It can be it's more art than science. That said, the report you're referring to was done by Deloitte, who are one of the big accountancy firms here. They do this massive study of soccer every year, and they are probably the best at it. Now, they have decided, they've been looking at the last 6-7 years of the International Series games, and they have worked out that at the moment, 2 games a season are worth about $50 million in added value to the London economy. They think that a season of games, so 8 regular season games, could be worth, let's say, $160 million to the London economy. Now, that is, ticket spends, merchandise, hot dogs, beer, but, also the fact that sort of fans will be travelling from further afield, from the States, from elsewhere in Europe, from all over this country, and they'd be wanting hotel rooms, they'll be eating dinner, they'll be going to something else. So that's the kind of numbers we're talking about here. It's a huge stadium. They're getting sort of 83,000 people in for these international series games. If they can sustain that over the course of the season, we probably are talking a very significant impact on the London economy.
Let me ask you this. Do you think right now the average sports fan in England, the UK, expects an NFL team in the next decade? Or is there even that much of a buzz about it that you can gauge interest on the street?
Buzz just sort of now. I think this year has been, the most interesting year for me. We've had these games now for, I think it's since 2007. Last year they tried 2. This year we've gone to 3. And I do think we've sort of reached a little bit of a tipping point. I don't want to exaggerate, but it's definitely being talked about a lot more. It's had a lot more press coverage, mainstream press coverage. If you like, soccer dominates in this country in the way the NFL dominates in yours. And it's being talked about, yes. Now, look, there is a very loyal NFL following in the UK. There always has been. That started in the 80s when, the NFL got very, very cool. For most people of my age, I'm in my 40s now, I remember those early games that we got to see, and that was the Chicago Bears in the mid-80s, the great sort of Raiders teams. That's when we first started to see the Super Bowl on British TV. It got very cool for about 10 years, and then it got very uncool. It just went out of fashion, and it wasn't really talked about at all until about, let's say, 5 years ago, when Sky, who are owned by Rupert Murdoch, started televising it. The game started coming over to Wembley. Papers started covering it again. So it's been softly. It's been a bit more organic. Now, that kind of loyal following never went away, but I would say that the more mainstream sports fan is starting to talk about it a bit more. So is there a buzz? Yes, just now.
Matt Slater of the BBC joining us talking about the NFL in London, not just this weekend, but long term. How many NFL games, if you're watching TV, if you live in London, you have the regular cable, satellite package, whatever you have over there, how many NFL games can an average fan watch a weekend?
Oh, lots, actually. I mean, it's a bit like, whenever I go to the States on business, I'm surprised at how much EPL soccer I can see. I can almost see more in the States than I can here. It's not quite the same situation in that, I know that you can pretty much watch whatever you like in the US in terms of the NFL, but you can watch a hell of a lot now, and it's getting more and more. So the main broadcaster here are Sky. That's people pay for that. You pay extra amounts for that. It's not kind of cable, but it's satellite TV, and they have a pretty good offering now. Certainly a game or two every weekend. They then replay a lot of the games during the week. There's a free-to-air terrestrial channel, what you would call one of your main networks, not the BBC, but one of our rivals that does a highlight show. They also show the Super Bowl. So, if you're an NFL fan in this country, you're being increasingly well served.
Matt, I read that every game is sold out since 2007, but this year an England-Norway soccer match got 40,000 at Wembley. England-San Marino got 55,000. Do we read anything into them selling out every game since 2007? Do you think they can do it for 8 games if a team was there?
That's it. That's the question. That's what they're doing with this very, very clever, very cute, softly approach. And I've been talking to some of the executives about this, and they're very aware that there is a novelty value at the moment. And the British, look, we love sport. We're a bit like you guys. We love sport. We all turn up to watch almost anything. And we've got a track record of that. We play a lot of sport. We watch a lot of sport. And there's definitely this novelty value about these games. Now, by slowly increasing this, they are testing the market. Can you bear 3? Will we sell out 4? Will we go to 5? I don't know. No one really knows. I mean, I'm impressed by the plan. I'm impressed by the fact that people are still turning up in big numbers to see these NFL games. Now, on the soccer point, you're right. I mean, look, we had a shocking World Cup, and the England football team goes in and out of fashion as well. At the moment, it's very, very out of fashion. Those 2 games were awful games. I'm amazed they got that many. But that, in some ways, is almost it's counterintuitive. That they got that many, to me, shows just how deep our love for soccer is.
Well, I was going to say, is soccer struggling over there? Is America becoming the soccer nation?
Not really. I mean,
Easy.
No, we could talk about all that for hours. Look, our international team, they have basically ludicrous expectations. We think we should win the World Cup every time. We've only won it once, and that was when it was at home. And we have to live with that. We have to live with what they call the weight of the shirt. We invariably disappoint every 4 years. The club game, the professional club game, is in rude good health and is fast coming up on the rails of the NFL in terms of being the world's most profitable sports league.
Matt Slater, the BBC, joining us. We got to get a couple soccer questions in for you. If you're a casual fan of soccer in America, a lot of questions we get. NBC Sports Network has the Premier League here, and they have all the games. You could watch almost every team every week. And a lot of fans who are just dipping their toe into the sport of soccer ask, which Premier League team should I root for? They obviously know of Manchester United or they know of Man City, but they don't know what the reputation is. If you were a casual fan in America, or if you were advising a casual fan, which bandwagon to jump on? Because is it cool for an American to jump on the Manchester United bandwagon? It's kind of easy. Is it cooler to pick like Everton or Tottenham or a second-tier team?
Yes. Look, you can't ask me that. I mean, choosing your team, I mean, it's like choosing the name of your children. It's something that's deeply personal. Okay, I understand the fact that, you can't choose the team that you grew up near because you're all miles away. So you do actually have to sort of kind of choose one you like the look of. And you're right. Look, for years, for almost forever, really, and there's an awful lot of those sort of fans in this country as well, the easy choice has been Manchester United. If not Manchester United, certainly when I was a kid, it was Liverpool. For the next 20 years, it's been Manchester United, and now it's possibly Manchester City or Chelsea. I don't know. I mean, it depends if you're the sort of person that desperately needs to win every week. If you need to get on a bandwagon because you're going to be miserable if your team don't win, if you're, let's say, 9 years old, then yeah, go for Man United or one of those teams.
Matt,
if you're a bit more mature, like me, then you support a team that you like the look of, that you like their values, you like the fact that they're not that good, that, they're a bit like life. They will disappoint you. They will sack their manager every 3 months. They will just basically be a bit rubbish. And my team is Southend United, which I don't expect anybody in the States to follow. We're in the 4th tier. I would argue that we're slumming it slightly and we should be in the 3rd tier, but we're certainly not a Premier League team. You will never see us, Arlo White and Rebecca Lowe and all those excellent people on MSNBC or whatever it's called, you're unlikely to see a Southend United game. But what I will say we have these cup competitions where the good teams have to play the bad teams. They just get drawn out of a hat. The last time we played Manchester United, we won 2-1. And that Manchester United team had Ronaldo and Rooney playing.
Was that the greatest day of your life?
It was the greatest day of my life. I mean, I've had 4 kids and I've been married, and all that sort of stuff. But if I'm going to be honest, beating Manchester United 2-1 at home was the greatest day of my life.
We hope your wife and kids aren't listening. Matt, thanks for coming on. We'll keep you up to date on Dan Patrick's health, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good man. Take care.